Tenses in English, referring to the verb tenses. Simple present is an action in the present taking place once, never, or several times. Facts, actions taking place one after another, an action set by a timetable or schedule. Present simple passive. The simple present is the same as always. The passive is added. How to form a passive sentence when an active sentence is given. Object of the active sentence becomes the subject in the passive sentence. Subject of the active sentence becomes the object in the passive sentence or is left out. Here is an example. Peter built the car, and then a car is built by Peter would be the passive form. Present continuous. Use the present continuous with normal verbs to express the idea that something is happening now, at this very moment. It can now also be used to show that something is not happening now, and you are learning English now. Present continuous passive. The highway is being built by the state. Present perfect. We use the present perfect to say that an action happened at an unspecified time before now. I have read that book 10 times. Present perfect passive. The Eiffel Tower has been visited by people from all over the world. We use the present perfect continuous to show that something started in the past and has continued up until now. She has been working on that book for 2 years. Past simple. To express the idea that an action started and finished at a specific time in the past. Sometimes the speaker may not actually mention the specific time, but they do have one specific time in mind. You called Bill. Past simple passive. The furniture was bought at a local market. Past continuous. Used to indicate that a longer action in the past was interrupted. The interruption is usually a shorter action in the simple past. Remember, this can be a real interruption or just an interruption in time. We were sleeping when the alarm went off. Past continuous passive. The math was being done by the girls. Past perfect. Expresses the idea that something occurred before another action in the past. It can also show that something happened before a specific time in the past. Past perfect passive. Many books had been written by the man at the table. Past perfect continuous. To show that something started in the past and continued up until another time in the past. For 5 minutes and for 2 weeks are both durations which can be used with past perfect continuous. Notice that this is related to the present perfect continuous. However, the duration does not continue until now. It stopped before something else in the past. Future, will, and it has 2 different forms. In English, will and be going to. You will check your homework later, and you are going to meet your friends at the theater tonight. Future will passive. A new computer will be bought by Jane today. Future will has 2 different forms in English, will and be going to. You will check your homework later. You are going to meet your friends at the theater tonight. Future, going to, passive. The pie is going to be made by me. Future continuous. Future continuous has 2 different forms, will be doing and be going to be doing. Unlike simple future forms, future continuous forms are usually interchangeable. You will be waiting for her when her plane arrives tonight. You are going to be waiting for her when her plane arrives tonight. Future perfect has 2 different forms, will have done and be going to have done. Future perfect forms are usually interchangeable. You will have perfected your English by the time you come back from the U.S. You're going to have perfected your English by the time you have come back from the U.S. Future possibility. When speaking about the future, we are not always sure what will happen. In these cases, we can use the modal verbs may or might to speak about what will possibly happen or be true in the future. Real conditional describes what you think you will do in a specific situation in the future. It is different from other real conditional forms because unlike the present or the past, you do not know what will happen in the future. Although this form is called real, you are usually imagining or guessing about the future. It is called real because it is still possible that the action might occur in the future. Unreal conditional. Similar to past unreal conditional, the present unreal conditional is used to talk about what you would generally do in imaginary situations. The form was is not considered grammatically correct in written English or in testing situations. You should always use were. However, in everyday conversation, was is often used. I would buy that computer if it were cheaper is the preferred form. I would buy that computer if it was cheaper. It is not correct, but it is often what is being said now in conversational English. The past unreal conditional is used to talk about what you generally do in imaginary situations. If I owned a car, I would drive to work, but I don't own a car. And then the modal verbs, I'm going to talk about them all by themselves.